In the heart of downtown, there's a plaza where Jose Antonio has worked for over 2 decades. Most people know him simply as the parking guy, a weathered man who helps drivers find their spots for spare change. But Jose's story begins long before the plaza, in a life that once held promise, success, and hope. 27 years ago, Jose was a different man entirely. As a skilled electrician in the city, he had built a reputation that any tradesman would envy. His work was precise, his reliability unquestioned. Colleagues respected him, not just for his technical skills, but for his character, the way he'd share his lunch with newer workers, or stay late to help someone finish a difficult installation. Jose's natural charisma made him popular beyond the job site. He had an easy smile and genuine warmth that drew people to him. Yet, despite the attention, particularly from women who were clearly interested, Jose remained humble and focused on his craft. "I just wanted to do good work and help people," Jose would later reflect. That seemed like enough. But life has a way of testing even the most prepared among us. In his early 40s, Jose began experiencing troubling symptoms. His vision started to blur during detailed electrical work. His legs, once steady on ladders and scaffolding, began to ache and occasionally give out. What started as minor inconveniences gradually became major obstacles. The decline was gradual, then sudden. Mistakes that Jose had never made before began appearing in his work. A misplaced wire here, a calculation error there. His supervisor, under pressure from the company's declining profits, finally reached his breaking point. "You're costing us money, Jose. This has to stop." Jose dropped to his knees in the supervisor's office, something he'd never imagined himself doing. "Please, give me another chance. I can fix this. I need this job." The supervisor said nothing. Jose took the silence as acceptance and showed up for work the next morning as usual. Instead, he found 2 security guards waiting at the entrance. "You can't come in," one of them said, handing Jose a folded paper. The termination letter was brief and clinical. No mention of his years of service, no acknowledgement of his previous contributions. Just a formal dismissal, effective immediately. What followed wasn't the quick recovery Jose expected. Word of his firing spread through the tight-knit community of electrical contractors. In an industry where reputation is everything, Jose found himself unemployable overnight. The few interviews he managed to secure ended quickly once employers learned about his termination. Within 3 months, Jose couldn't make his rent. His landlord, a man who had once considered Jose a model tenant, delivered the eviction notice with cold efficiency. "You have 48 hours, he said, avoiding Jose's eyes. That first night on the streets, Jose sat on a bench in the plaza, watching the world continue around him. The same people who had once greeted him warmly now looked past him, as if homelessness had made him invisible. Desperation as a way of revealing character. Jose could have chosen bitterness, anger, or given up entirely. Instead, he chose dignity. Rather than simply panhandling, he began offering a service, helping drivers navigate the challenging parking situation in the busy plaza. "Excuse me, sir, would you like help parking?" became his daily refrain. Most drivers appreciated the assistance, and Jose's genuine friendliness made the interaction pleasant rather than uncomfortable. The tips were small, but they were earned through honest work. Days turned to months, months to years. Jose developed a routine, a territory, and most importantly, a purpose. Regular customers began to recognize him. Local business owners would nod respectfully as he passed. Children weren't afraid of him because he always had a kind word or a joke. But the physical toll was undeniable. Without access to regular showers, dental care, or even a simple haircut, Jose's appearance deteriorated. His once handsome features became hidden behind unkempt hair and the weathered look of someone who sleeps outdoors. The contrast between his gentle demeanor and his rough appearance often startled newcomers to the plaza. Perhaps the most painful aspect of Jose's situation was how dramatically some people's attitudes toward him had changed. Women who had once sought his attention now crossed the street to avoid him. Some were cruelly direct in their rejection. "Get cleaned up first, then maybe we can talk," one former acquaintance said, loud enough for others to hear. The laughter that followed stung more than Jose cared to admit, but Jose had learned something profound during his years on the streets. A person's worth isn't determined by their circumstances. He He continued to treat everyone with respect, regardless of how they treated him. This quiet dignity didn't go unnoticed by everyone. Salva Garcia owned La Salva, a popular salon just 3 blocks from the plaza. For years, he had watched Jose work, observed his interactions with customers, his work ethic, his unfailing politeness even when faced with rudeness. There was something about Jose that intrigued him. "I'd like to give you a haircut," Salva offered one afternoon. "No charge." Jose politely declined. He'd grown accustomed to his appearance, and the offer felt like charity. But Salva persisted, making the same offer month after month, year after year. It became a gentle ritual between them. "Why do you keep asking?" Jose finally inquired. "Because I see who you really are," Salva replied simply. "And I think others should see it too." After 5 years of offers, something shifted in Jose's thinking. Maybe it was the approach of his 25th year on the streets, or perhaps it was simply time. When Salva made his usual offer, Jose surprised them both by accepting. "Okay," he said quietly. "Let's do it." Salva had been planning for this moment longer than Jose realized. He decided to make Jose's transformation the centerpiece of his salon's anniversary celebration, not as a publicity stunt, but as a genuine act of community service. The process took nearly 3 hours. Jose's hair hadn't been professionally cut in over 2 decades. The washing alone took considerable time and care. As the stylists worked, Salva quietly sent an assistant to purchase new clothes for Jose, a simple but well-fitted outfit that would complement the new look they were creating. Throughout the process, Jose caught glimpses of himself in the mirror and felt a complex mix of emotions. Excitement, certainly, but also a deep sadness for the years that had passed and the man he'd almost forgotten he could be. When the transformation was complete, even the salon staff was amazed. The man looking back from the mirror bore little resemblance to the person who had walked in. Jose's natural bone structure, hidden for so long, was striking. His eyes, clear and kind, were now the focal point of his face, rather than being overshadowed by unkempt hair. "Is that really me?" Jose whispered, touching his face gently. The reaction on the street was immediate and dramatic. Regular customers at the plaza did double takes. Some didn't recognize him at all until he spoke. Others were visibly moved by the transformation. Word spread quickly through social media. Salva had documented the process, and the video of Jose's transformation resonated with viewers around the world. But more importantly, it resonated with his own community. Local businesses stepped forward to help. An eye doctor offered free cataract surgery. A landlord provided temporary housing while Jose got back on his feet. Job offers began to come in, not out of pity, but because people remembered Jose's character and work ethic. Today, Jose still works in the plaza. He chose to stay, not because he has to, but because he wants to. The plaza has become his community, and he's become its heart. The parking assistance he provides is now just one part of a larger role. He's become an unofficial ambassador for the area, someone who makes newcomers feel welcome and helps maintain the peaceful atmosphere that draws people there. The women once dismissed him. Some have apologized, others simply pretend their earlier behavior never happened. Jose harbors no resentment. He understands that people often judge based on appearance because they don't know how to see deeper. "I learned something important during those years," Jose explains. "My worth wasn't determined by how I looked or where I slept. It was determined by how I treated people and how I chose to live each day. The haircut didn't change who I was. It just let other people see who I'd always been." Jose's story spread far beyond his local community. It became a reminder that everyone has value, regardless of their circumstances. It challenged viewers to look beyond surface appearances and consider the full humanity of people they might otherwise dismiss. But perhaps the most important audience for Jose's story wasn't online viewers, it was the people in his own community who had watched his transformation. They saw firsthand how a simple act of kindness could change not just one life, but an entire community's understanding of what it means to see and value each other. Jose continues to work in the plaza, but now he's also become something of a local celebrity. Visitors come specifically to meet him, drawn by his story and his gentle wisdom. He's been featured in local news programs and has spoken at community events about resilience and dignity. His hair, now a distinguished silver gray, is professionally maintained. He dresses well, not because he has to, but because he's learned that how we present ourselves to the world matters, not for our own worth, but for how we can serve others. I'm grateful for every part of my journey, Jose reflects. The success, the failure, the years on the street, and this second chance. Each part taught me something I needed to know about being human. When asked what advice he'd give to someone facing their own difficult circumstances, Jose's answer is simple. Keep your dignity. Treat people well. And remember that your current situation isn't your final destination. Sometimes the help you need is closer than you think. You just have to be ready to accept it. The plaza where Jose works has become more than just a parking area. It's become a place where people are reminded that everyone has a story, everyone has value, and sometimes all it takes to change a life is someone who's willing to really see you. In a world that often judges quickly and harshly, Jose's story stands as a powerful reminder that transformation is always possible, not just the kind that comes from a haircut and new clothes, but the deeper kind that comes from recognizing the inherent worth in every human being. And sometimes that recognition starts with something as simple as a barber who sees beyond the surface.